All
All
right.
right,
So
this is my favorite. We're not in person. I could like crystal ball, maybe rub your head like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. I was going to say I got to put my Swami hat on,
we
but yeah, I got the
we got
bald
to
head.
have a little bit of fun with that, right? I'm catching up with you. I'm just I'm in denial right now, so it's all good.
Absolutely. Well, and listen, obviously 2023 was a very busy year. We've only touched on some of the high points. There were a lot of other things that we skipped over today in the interest of time. Make sure you talk to your counsel about everything that needs to change. Please, please, please talk to them. But really, what I want to do now is I want to focus on 2024. We are predicting that 2024 is going to be as active, if not more active, than we've seen since the COVID pandemic in 2020. Our legislature has a number of things in front of them. Our courts have a number of things in front of them that will absolutely change the landscape of employment law in California. The number one issue that we foresee is the Woolworth case that is going to be decided here probably in the next 4 months is going to do away with time punch rounding in California altogether. A court of appeals came back and they've already struck this down in the underlying case of Woolworth. They said no more rounding is permitted. This has been taken up to the California Supreme Court. We do believe that the court is going to affirm that lower court's decision. So if you have a rounding practice, meaning your shift starts at 7 a.m., if an employee clocks in at 6:55 or if they clock in at 7:05, it rounds back to 7 o'clock so that you've got basically a balance of timing. You're giving a little bit of leniency, a couple of minutes here or there. Well, the legislature has been pushing this for years. They haven't passed anything, but the courts are now saying, listen, the technology that's available to employers today is way better than it's been in history. You have the ability to pay minute to minute and keep track of every minute that an employee works. You should be doing that because otherwise you, the employer, may be getting the benefit of free labor. For instance, if a person clocks in at 6:55 and they start working immediately, because as employers, we know they're not running to the bathroom or getting coffee or talking to friends, they're going right to work, right? They don't want the employer to gain free labor. So if you have a rounding policy in place, I am encouraging employers to change it now. Get your payroll company up ahead of this. Be ready for it because the moment that the law changes, understand that you will have to comply on the moment that that court case comes down. And we don't hold out a whole lot of hope that it's going to go the employer's way. Second, I mentioned this on the second slide. The federal minimum salary threshold is going to increase to 55,064 this year. You need to be ready for that if you have employees who are working outside of California who may have a lower salary threshold. We do expect that we're going to see the California minimum wage jump again. I mentioned that the drive to $20 an hour, Governor Newsom has indicated this is a key pillar of what he wants to see. He wants to see California leading the pack on this. We do think that for 2025, we're going to see a $19 minimum wage. That will be a huge jump, won't it? I mean, this year we're at 16, possibly going up to 19 by 2025. We are advocating from business groups statewide to try to make this staged out over several years to give businesses time to adjust, to manage their pricing in order to build this up. Because if we jump $3 per hour for every minimum wage employee, it will be devastating for a lot of our smaller businesses. Our specialized industries are going to continue that drive to 20. We already have seen bills introduced for both agriculture. These are the people who are picking our produce out in the Ventura County area, film and TV, and then non-fast food restaurants. These are our larger restaurant chains where we do seated dining. All of them have bills that will be introduced this year, moving to a $20 minimum wage come 2025. PAGA, my prediction right now is going to be a huge problem. For those who don't know what PAGA is, it's the Private Attorney General's Act. It basically is a very low bar for class action lawsuits in California, just simply put. And on our ballot in November is going to be an initiative that goes in front of the voters of California called the Fair Pay and Employer Accountability Act. This is going to really strip out a lot of the very difficult penalizing provisions of PAGA that make these cases so very hard. I was literally just in a mediation yesterday and the mediator said, I hate these PAGA cases. Employers simply cannot win. And it's true. you cannot win on a PAGA case. It is extraordinarily difficult. So there will be that referendum. Unfortunately, there's going to be billions of dollars poured into these campaigns, and I do not believe that the voters are going to go the way of the business owner. They're going to be looking out for their best interest and protecting the employees. And then finally, a bill that has failed now 2 years in a row, and we expect it to be reintroduced next year: pregnancy leaves of absence and certain medical leaves, cancer, long-term illnesses that go beyond just a regular sick leave period, will become paid leaves of absence by the employer. Right now, they are all currently unpaid. You do not have to pay an employee while she is out on her pregnancy disability leave and then her following baby bonding leave. An employee can take up to 28 weeks in California as unpaid leave. This new bill that is being produced this year would require the employer to pay the employee while she is out on that pregnancy leave, or if they have an extended illness, pay them for the entire time that they are off work. It has not yet been assigned a bill number yet, but please know we are tracking it. We're going to do everything we can to advocate for employers to protect you. While there can be a fairness compromise in here, the burden that's going to be placed on so many employers by this additional expense may be putting many businesses out of business.
Okay. All right. Good times here in the state of California, right?
I've got the greatest job security in America, John.
All right. Well, we'll probably be reporting back next year to see what came true. And obviously, unfortunately, like you said, these things continue to move forward. And so yeah, this is not your first rodeo. I'm sure you've got a lot of these predictions right in the past.
I'm pretty good. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty close.
Yeah. And a couple things that, oops,